So right now you guys are on your cover sheet and you're self-reflecting. How did you feel about 5-2? I can add and subtract fractions with the same denominators. And then in 5-3, who thinks they could raise their hand and tell me the difference between 5-2 and 5-3? Raise your hand when you find the difference between those two lessons. Actually, circle the word that tells you what's different between 5-2 and 5-3. Very good. For 5-2, we have the same denominator. For 5-3, we're going to have different denominators. So go ahead and shade in to see it there. Yes, sir. Yep. Yep. Yep, you've got to multiply to get a common denominator first. All right, so we're going to flip in our notes until we get to 5-3 right here. Adding and subtracting fractions with what? With like unlike denominators. Whoops, that's a typo. Even teachers make mistakes. You guys ever heard the Hannah Montana song, Everybody Makes Mistakes? Everybody has those days. Hannah Montana was real big when I was little. It's actually Miley Cyrus was Hannah Montana. But she used to sing a song that said, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. And I totally made a mistake there. At the end of the hour, remind me. All right, so what we're going to be working on today in 5-3 is adding fractions with unlike denominators. So the denominators are not going to be the same. The very first step is to find we call LCD. LCD. Who can raise their hand and tell me what LCD stands for? Very good. So if you forgot, you could write off to the side least common denominator. Very good. Least common denominator. In order to add fractions, we've got to find our least common denominator first. After we find our least common denominator, our second step is simply to do exactly like we did yesterday. Add or subtract the fractions. So once we've got that denominator, we simply add or subtract them. Who thinks they could raise their hand and tell me what step 3 should say? What do you think we do? We got to do this with every problem in math, even if the directions don't say. Very good. Simplify as needed. You always simplify, even if the directions don't say to simplify. Yes, go ahead. Oh, sorry. What? So we want to jump down to example 1. Okay. Go ahead and underline your denominators in these two fractions, because the very first thing that you always have to do is check and see if the denominators are the same. And I want you to shake your head yes or no. Do I currently have a common denominator? Shake your head yes or no. Very good. I'm seeing lots of no's. So since we don't have a common denominator, what I like to do is write 3/14. And then I'm going to bring this negative 6/7 down as well. This is how I like to organize my work. So my denominators currently are 14 and 7. Who thinks they can raise their hand and tell me a number that both 14 and 7 can go into? It can be any number. I like the smallest one usually. 2 is a part of the fact family. You're in the right fact family. They can both go into 14. Very good. So you have the right fact family. Both of these fractions can be written out of 14. So my first fraction doesn't change at all. It's already 3/14. We're going to leave it as 3/14. But for my second fraction, it's currently written out of 7. So I need to change that 7 to make it out of 14. How many times does 7 go into 14? 2. So we're going to times by 2. What you do in the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. Good. Let's try that again. What you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. Good. So if I have negative 6 times 2, I get negative 12. And then I want to look and see, I had a plus sign between them, right? So I have to do 3 over 14 plus negative 12 over 14. So now I have a common denominator. And now it's the exact same as what we did yesterday. Very good. Negative 9 over 14. And then the final step is to simplify. Can you simplify? No. So that's my final answer. All right, let's do the second one. First thing I want you to do is underline your denominator. So go ahead and underline the denominator. What'd you underline? 5 and 9, are they the same? No, so let's go ahead and write negative 4/5. And then I've got 4/9. Got to rewrite both of those. Who thinks they can raise their hand and give me a number that 5 and 9 both go into? These are both odds. This wouldn't work. We want them to multiply into this number. 45. Very good. I'm going to rewrite both of these fractions out of 45. The 4 doesn't. The 5 and the 9 do. We just care about our denominators. Yep, we just want our denominators to be out of 45. It doesn't matter. You'll still get the same answer no matter what. Okay, so how many times does 5 go into 45? 9 times. Now let's say this all together. What you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. All right, so let's multiply our numerator by 9. Close. Negative 36. Yep, so we have negative 36 out of 45. Who can raise their hand and help me with this bottom one? I want to raise your hand, raise your hand. I want to rewrite my bottom one. Not 36. It's 20. How did you get that? Yep. Yes. Yep. You need to multiply this one by 5. So 5 times 20, or 5 times 4 is 20. So now I want to go back up to my problem. I've got negative 36 over 45. Notice what sign is between them. Subtraction. So we're subtracting 20 out of 45. What I would do for a problem like this, since my first number is negative and I'm subtracting from a negative number, I am going to switch. And I'm going to take that negative and I'm going to apply it to the 20. Did you do that, bud? Okay, switch. Like the common denominator part or what I just did there? Okay, we'll talk later, okay? Let's add. What's negative 36 plus negative 20? Negative 56 out of 45. Actually, we can talk about it right now. One thing that you can do, you can use your calculator if you want to. So initially, that problem said negative 36 minus 20. You can just type into your calculator negative 36 minus 20. And it's going to tell you it's negative 56. Why is negative 56 45ths not an appropriate answer? It's improper, right? So we want to know how many times 45 can go into 56. Just once, good. And then how many are left over? 11, except the negative does not get applied to the 11. it's going to get applied to the mixed number, the whole thing. So we're going to actually put the negative in front of the 1. That's a common mistake. Students like to write the negative with the 11, but the negative is actually applied to the entire mixed number. The 5 and the 9, very good. Are they the same? Shake your heads, yes or no. Nope. All right, so we've got to rewrite them. Negative 5 and 4/5. Negative 11 and 4/9. We're organizing our work. Who can raise their hand and give me the common denominator? What's a number that 5 and 9 can both go into? Oh, raise your hand, raise your hand. What can 5 and 9 both go into? 45, good. So our whole number is going to stay the same. We still have negative 5, but we're going to rewrite the fraction out of 45. We still have negative 11, but we're going to write the fraction out of 45. So the whole number stays the same. The only piece that we're changing is that fraction. So, who can help me with this first fraction? How can I rewrite 4/5 out of 45? Times by 9. Times by 9. So what's 4 times 9 give you? 36. Very good. Who can help me out with this second one right here? How do I rewrite 4/9 out of 45? Times by 5. Very good. Times by 5. And we get 20 out of 45. So we're going to go back up to the top. We're going to write negative 5 and 36/45. What sign is between them? Plus, so we're adding negative 11 and 20/45. It is exactly like the last one. You're right. What's 36 plus 20? 56. And I ran out of room, so I'm going to keep my work down here. What is negative 5 plus negative 11? Negative 16. And then who can raise their hand and help me finish it? What's the last piece that I have to do? Good. With 11 left over. Good. Now, we've got negative 16. We have to add the 1. So a lot of times students think it should be negative 15, but it's actually negative 17. It's kind of funky. Negative 17 and 11/45. Because the negative doesn't get applied to the end. You add 16 plus 1 and you get the negative 17.